is up? Welcome back from Thanksgiving. Hope we all had some good Chinese food, like I know Eric did. Um, Patrick, welcome back. It's good to have you back. How has it's been like a month since I've seen you? How has your fantasy teams been doing?
Ooh, that's a hit or miss question there. Couple of leagues end up looking playoff bound, and then a few others just kind of dropped by the wayside. But dynasty teams are looking pretty solid. I think playoffs are 4 of the 6.
Oh, not bad. Not
Yeah.
bad. So that's good to hear. Eric, how was your Thanksgiving football experience?
It was amazing since I was rocking Josh Jacobs in a need to win redraft league game. Ended the week, I think, with the highest total on the season for any team. So my team is looking good. I think that I'm in good position, at least for the playoffs, but my team is definitely heating up at the right time.
That is good. That is good. We will discuss later whether Josh Jacobs may or may not be playing this week. But he did have a heck of a week last week. Um, some of our flag plants last week, Latavius Murray did good, did Latavius Murray things. He's about the only good part of that Denver offense right now, which seems weird for a 32-year-old running back to be the best part of your offense. Maybe that's why they're only scoring like what 8 points per game. But hey, we'll take it. I doubled up on Montgomery last week, Patrick. I don't know if you knew that, but
Did
Montgomery just
not.
continued to do Montgomery things and not Josh Jacobs things. So, um, oh well, I probably won't make him my flag plant this week. I think I have given up my hopes of Montgomery having a interstellar
Well,
performance.
he's saving it for the playoffs.
He's done it
Best place to
before.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He's led me to glory before.
This is for you, Matt. This is for you.
He did like one of my tweets one time.
Really?
That was exciting. Yeah, that
It
was
was a
exciting.
bot. Elon
What?
Musk bot.
Well, anyway, let's move on to the Thursday night games. Bills versus Pats, and they are both with a full week of rest because they played on Thanksgiving. So that's weird to see for a Thursday night game. However, Damian Harris has already been ruled out with a thigh injury. Is that correct, Eric?
Yeah, it's super ambiguous, but it certainly looks like they're moving past Damian Harris as the cornerstone for this offense. Ramondre Stevenson has been hot, and I think that he's been vital in their passing game. I saw a quick stat that he's getting targets comparable to Austin Eckler, and only Austin Eckler, who's the PPR god. So if you play in any sort of PPR or half PPR league, it's been the Ramondre Stevenson show for your team. But it definitely looks like Damian Harris is out for the foreseeable future. He could come back, but this is the Ramondre show.
Yeah, and he's definitely not eating into Ramondre's work in the passing game at all. So even if he does come back, what couple carries going his way, and you're not overly concerned about that.
Yeah, I think the tides have turned. I mean, Ramondre hasn't been that outstanding on the ground. His last 3 games, he's toted the ball for 36, 26, and 60 yards, which isn't amazing. But on the flip side, he's really gotten a large target share, and he's been productive with that.
Yeah, sure. Von Miller, Bills defense had apparently he's got a meniscus tear. I believe there's a few other injuries on that Bills defense. So Patrick, do you think they're kind of vulnerable? Maybe not the
Uh,
stellar defense they were at the beginning of the year.
I don't know how vulnerable. I mean, those pieces missing are huge. They maybe could take advantage a bit more on the ground, and then depending gameplay goes, I mean, if they're not getting pass rush, Mac Jones might have a solid game, which could lead for more Stevenson receptions out backfield, or even Jacoby if he lines up. If not, I think those receivers still have a solid chance for a good outing. I suspect they'll be playing from behind.
Since you brought him up, do you think Jacoby's going to play? He's dealing with kind of an AC joint issue.
The last I saw, it seemed like he said he was going to play. I think the last thing I read for it, like he was saying he was playing, but that AC joint, it's a tricky one. I mean,
It's so
it could be
hard.
cracked. Yeah, it's
Like-
like shoulder. If he reaches up for a bad pass during a walkthrough, re-aggravate it.
Yeah, I
Day
think
of.
people don't understand just how much you use that AC joint when you're bringing your arms up to catch a ball. So very easily could re-aggravate it. Lands on it wrong, re-aggravates it.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty high risk of re-aggravation in game.
Yeah, we're here. I would probably hold him out for the Thursday night game, personally, as a training staff.
Same. If I had other options, for sure.
And they do. They do have other options. Devontae Parker, Nelson Aguilar, they've showed up. They can play the role. So
No, I agree. That pretty much does it for the Thursday night game. Kind of short and sweet on the injuries, which should be for an exciting Thursday night football game, which we need some exciting Thursday night football games in our life because they've been few and far between this year.
To make up for those Broncos games.
oh god.
I was okay. Sidetrack. I was listening.
Oh,
They
boy.
apparently gave the Broncos like before the season like 5 primetime games because it was the Broncos. They were supposed to be good, and then now looking back, makes you want to.
They
Slap
apparently
yourself.
removed the Bronco Chief game from prime time. Yeah, that's the most recent one.
Good
They
decision.
took out.
Yeesh.
They
Russell
I
Wilson
think it was like
looks
the
so bad. They don't even want to show Patrick Mahomes on primetime. That's crazy.
yeah. That's how bad Russell Wilson is.
Though I kind of want to see how bad he is.
Gosh, he's terrible. Well, keep doing those high knees on the plane, Russ. Anyway, let's move on to the Sunday night or the Sunday games. We got Packers versus Bears, battle of the injured QBs, apparently. We talked about Fields a lot last week, Eric. I don't think we need to really dive into detail about his injury again, but do you think he's going to play, or are we still kind of on the same side of it?
Same side. I mean, I think that the 3-9 Bears have no incentive to play the future of their franchise in this game. I think they hold Fields out. I wouldn't be counting on him if I were a manager of Justin Fields.
Yeah, which definitely sucks. Like we've discussed last week, I mean, it just makes it a lot harder for him to run because he can't take a hit to that shoulder, really is the issue. Simeon not participating today. Hate you, Eric. So they picked up, I'm forgetting even the QB's name.
Peterman.
Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle.
Oh, this week, Tim Boyle.
Yeah. Oh, did they sign Nathan Peterman or something last week?
Who?
I don't even know.
I think they realized that they had Nathan Peterman on the squad, and they realized they
They're
have
like,
to. Yeah.
oh crap! There's actually a chance we can play him.
Yeah. They're like, oh god.
We're
Anything else?
that seems about right. That seems about right. Bears lost their safety for the year, so that atrocious defense gets more atrocious. So if Aaron Rodgers with that rib injury can go, do we see Aaron Rodgers get back maybe into form a little bit there, Patrick?
I mean, it seems like he's developing a good connection with Watson. So they've had a good connection lately. Vulnerable defense, as long as he's feeling healthy and can stay upright and not get touched in the game. Yeah, I could definitely see him lighting them up. But rib injury, that's a tricky one. Most injuries, one bad hit.
And I have a theory that maybe it's not even much of a theory, that he's kind of scared at this point to let Jordan Love see the field a little bit.
Yeah,
Jordan Love didn't look bad.
He didn't look bad. And I actually just saw a tweet couple hours ago, apparently Rodgers said like if they go out of playoff contention or he's at risk, he's open to the idea of sitting out. Like
Right.
he's okay getting benched. So that to me is a little confusing. I'm like, all right, is he preparing for next year already? Is he checked out? Is he going to perform, or is he just going to end up pulling out? But
it's one of those things. Like, I'm almost curious if that does happen. Aaron Rodgers gets sidelined for the last few games. Jordan Love comes out there and lights up the world. Do they move to him? And it's almost like that situation where he took over for Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Where he sat 3 years and then all of a
Finally
sudden
got a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I would say dynasty wise, Love's an interesting, maybe try to sneaky like trade for him and just see what happens if you got like a spot or extra draft picks and you want to take a, random shot. But other than that,
wouldn't give up too much for him, but
no.
So let's move on. Steelers versus Falcons. Really, the only question marks here are the Steelers running backs. Najee went out with that oblique injury. And then we saw the Benny Snell show after that. And then, I mean, maybe Jaylen Warren comes back. So I guess my question for both of y'all is who's that running back if Najee can't play?
I think that they're going to give Jaylen Warren first dibs, I think, if healthy. They like him. They clearly like him. He was already eating into Najee's workload. But he's not a strong between the tackles runner. So I could easily see if Najee were to be out, them to give Benny Snell sort of the north-south routes, and Jaylen Warren plays the Jaylen Warren role of, pass catching or in the flat position for a running back. So I think if Najee's out, this running back core just becomes a bit by committee, and they might even just roll with the hot hand. But I think Warren would get first dibs over anyone.
Now, does it scare you that he's coming off that hamstring injury?
Hamstring. Yeah, totally. I mean, this is something we see time and again. These young guys, they come back off of the hamstring injuries and they don't realize just how recurrent it can be. So this is the kind of thing that Jaylen Warren could, be increasing his workload, increasing his practice participation throughout the week. And then on Saturday, you hear that he tweaked it and he's out. So I would definitely be monitoring the situation all the way up until game time for me. But, if Najee's out, if Warren's in, then Warren would be my play.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on, we got Jets versus Vikings. Old Cougar hunter himself, Zach Wilson, has been benched for Mike White. Patrick, how did you think Mike White did?
I mean, he filled the role quite nice, to be honest. I mean, what was his stat line? 22, 28, 3 touchdowns?
3 touchdowns, like 302 yards or something like that.
Let me look. 315 is what I wrote down. Yeah, 315. Yeah, I mean, hey, he showed up. He showed up, performed. Now, granted, Chicago Bears.
Is the
Bears defense. He's got Minnesota coming up next. So I think it'll be a test. Yeah. But as far as if you grabbed him and he's there to play, I mean, if he's your only option, I mean, hey,
Superflex, you can do a lot. You can do a lot worse.
Yeah, for Superflex for sure, a lot worse. But I mean, I would play him. I mean, hot hand right now. They look good. He looked in sync with the receivers, surprisingly. But yeah, I mean, and plus it makes it exciting, someone to root for.
It is exciting. Those undrafted guys. It's always fun to
pull for them.
Yeah, rooting for you, Mike White. Carter, day to day. What was that? It's a low ankle sprain.
Yeah.
So he could play. I mean, we've seen players bounce back pretty quickly from low ankle sprains, but I mean, definitely monitor the situation. In the meantime, Zonovan Knight looked pretty good, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
I think he had over 100 total yards in the game, and so I know he was the hot waiver ad of the week. I would, if Carter plays, I'm probably not playing Zonovan Knight, but if he doesn't, there's worse plays.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Zonovan Knight, I thought was utilized well as a rusher and a receiver, and really the receiving game is where the Vikings defense is really giving up a lot of points. So I think if Michael Carter is out, Zonovan is a pretty good play, and if Carter's in, then if you need to flex him, I think he's a viable flex.
Yeah, I agree. Man, I wish Brees Hall hadn't torn his ACL though.
Oh,
Yeah,
but next year, Brees, you're leading me to glory. And then Vikings left tackle Darrisaw is still in concussion protocol. Was he? I don't know. Was he a limited participant today, full, or just? Does anyone know?
I don't know, but he had
No.
2 concussions in 8 days. So
Oh, okay.
I think they're going to be super cautious with his return. It didn't make any clear effect on Kirk Cousins' ability to chuck the ball to Justin Jefferson
Sure.
against a really decent Patriots defense. But it's something that is just to say, I think, like, when he's back, that offense is going to have a lot more room to wiggle.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, they've got Super Bowl hopes, so they're not going to rush him back by any means, especially for a concussion. Jags versus Lions. Maybe the sneaky, not so sneaky shootout of the week. Maybe not entirely great defenses and good enough offenses. So, unfortunately, ETN went down with a foot injury last week, which I don't know about you guys. That scared the crap out of me when I saw that.
Same foot?
I think it was. I don't remember.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was.
Okay.
Now, but apparently he was medically cleared to return to the game, and they were just being cautious with it. So I don't blame them for that. I mean, obviously he's their running back of the future, but that definitely scared the daylights out of me when we had that Lisfranc fracture last year and the surgery, and we talked about it. Me and Eric talked about it last year, where they don't return from Lisfranc injuries very well, especially at the running back position. And then he's looked so great. I think he was a limited participant today, but in the meantime, definitely JaMychal Hasty, I think, is the one you want.
Yeah.
Even if they signed Henderson.
My one asterisk to that is just noting that the Lions defense, as crappy as they are, they rank 32nd in the league at fantasy points allowed for receiving running backs. And that's really where JaMychal Hasty has made his money in his entire career. He's not a very good between the tackles player. He's a proficient receiver, and the 49ers used him like that. And that's how he made all those fantasy points when he filled in for ETN. So this could be a trap game for Hasty if someone's banking on him.
It's probably the Houston effect, where they're so bad they're good at that because no one has to check down to the running back.
I think that's actually viable.
Like, I mean, that's literally like Houston's top 5 against fantasy points for QBs and receivers. And it's just because people get so much of a lead against them so fast that it's like, all right, let's just run the ball. Like, here we go.
Could be a trap game. I mean, they're third best.
I had to add that more.
They're third best
That would be sneaky to pay attention
at giving points to the quarterback. So this could just be a Trevor Lawrence game. Zay Jones.
Okay. Well, that's my sneaky DFS game of the week. So stacking it.
That's a good one.
And then DeAndre Swift, apparently healthy. I don't know. What do y'all think? Patrick, do you have thoughts on Swift?
I mean, if he's healthy, they've changed their game plan. To be honest, that's what it seems like. Jamal Williams is just taking up all the touches.
Jamal Williams is the king of 1-yard touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like
Killing,
half his touchdowns this year have been 1 yard touchdowns.
Literally setting records for touchdowns.
Hey,
what's his total on the year? 12 now?
12 or
13.
13, something like that.
I mean, it's working to some degree for the offense. They're scoring. So, Swift, where I considered him, drafted him RB2, hopeful RB1 potential, down to a flex play for me. And I'm just like, I'm not excited about it. But
Yeah.
he's
He
kind
might
of
be a
falling down.
sneaky kind of buy low in Dynasty now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I've thrown a few offers out there, tried to before trade deadline.
Just to see what you can maybe get.
Got nothing.
Yeah. Titans versus Eagles, guys. Goddard still out with that shoulder injury. He's on IR. I think I saw week 15 is when he's set to possibly return.
Mhm.
Hopeful, and he just revealed that he did have a chip in his glenoid or his humeral head, I think it was. No, it was glenoid. Anyhow, he had a chip in the bone. So that's going to delay some healing, and they'll take an extra cautious approach on that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Devontae Smith kind of dealing with a groin injury. I couldn't find really much information about it. It could just be one of those things. Hey, I'm feeling a little tightness, guys. I get an easy day. That would be my assumption right now.
Yeah.
Unless we hear more as the week goes on.
Yeah, getting later in the season, playoff aspirations, Super Bowl aspirations.
Yeah.
I'm going to suspect teams like that are going to have injury reports popping up like this more and more. So
yeah, I agree. Eric, off the top of your head, do you know who's winning the Devontae Smith versus Gabe Davis fantasy points for the rest of the year that we did the very first show?
Oh, crap. Dang, I really am scared to think it might be Gabe Davis.
I honestly don't know the answer.
I don't know. I'm afraid though. He's had some boom games.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up.
I'm looking up Devonta.
All right. Who can pull it up the quickest?
Oh, I can pull it up quickly.
I don't know how to spell Devonta.
That's okay, bud.
Okay, I found it. Okay. In half PPR, Devonta 112.5.
Okay. Oh. You know where Gabe Davis is? I'm looking at PPR and I've got them both.
Okay, I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, so Devontae Smith in PPR is 132.9. Gabe Davis at 128.
But what's his per game?
Gabe Davis is leading per game at 12.8 to 12.1 for Devontae Smith. I don't know. That's going to come down to the wire.
Gabe Davis is literally either top 10 wide receiver or wide receiver 60.
Hey.
He's like Tyler Lockett.
There's worse things to be.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got a few weeks left.
Still like Devontae Smith and Dynasty, though. Rex Burkhead, concussion, not participating today. We've talked about it a lot on our other episodes, but we've just seen, especially since the Tua thing, if they don't participate on Wednesday, I haven't seen an example of them playing in the game on Sunday. They just don't clear the protocol. I don't think we need to go into too much detail about that. Derek Stingley, cornerback, hamstring injury. Eric, go.
Yeah, he's not going to play.
Cool.
Yeah, but that's a big blow to the offense. I mean, they're already not expecting to be on the field very much as an offense, so their defense is going to have to hold down the fort against Deshaun Watson, and it's not boding well already.
Yeah, Houston's pretty bad. Oh well. Maybe they'll play hard to beat Deshaun Watson.
Did you see what Kyle Allen said when a reporter asked him, what would you tell Myles Garrett and the Browns right now if you could?
No.
He said, I would tell Myles Garrett to be nice to me. So he's expecting a dub for sure.
Don't try to hit me with my own helmet.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Giants versus Commanders. Bellinger, the rookie kind of tight end sensation earlier in the year that broke his face, is limited participant today. Patrick, are you excited that Bellinger is returning? Giants need receivers.
Yeah, I picked him earlier in the season as one of my next man up, and he did perform, and he looked like he was coming into a good groove in that offense before this injury, and so I'm excited. I hope he can suit up this weekend and hopefully get some touches. I mean, the injury itself was just more, I feel like, time to heal, nothing truly limiting.
Yeah, it was
for football playing,
I agree. Broken face, you kind of just got to wait for the face to not be broken anymore, and then okay, good.
Takes pretty much. Yeah.
Especially with Richie James not participating today with a knee injury.
Who was your other flag plant, Pat, I believe?
Did I plant Richie James?
Oh, I remember that one. Wasn't that the one where he?
I don't think you planted him. I think you touted him.
Did he not score a touchdown last weekend?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're having a different chat on that one.
I don't know. There's not much to say about Richie James. You're not excited to play him, but the Giants need some help.
Yeah. I mean, Bellinger, tight end position's scarce. So if you have him and you don't have a better option, and he's playing, throw him in there. Wide receivers
for DFS.
I would be interested to know what his price is on DraftKings, and
it's got to be low.
It's got to be low.
It's going to be a high scoring game.
It'll be a game.
It will be a game.
I know that for a fact. Unlike Denver, they don't play games. They just are out there. Anyway, at least their offense. Chase Young's limited participant right now for the Commanders. That's a pretty big boost to your Commanders defense, right?
Yeah. I mean, they've already been playing pretty well, I think. So we'll see where we're at, I think, but they're definitely considering him to be the face of the franchise. If we were to have one, it's Chase Young.
Yeah, Chase Young, DeMatha grad. He's taking his time. He'll be good.
Yeah. Antonio Gibson, limited participant with a foot injury. I didn't see much on exactly what it is. I don't know if you guys did, but
didn't see much other than bothered foot.
Right. But Brian Robinson looked good. I know that.
He did.
I was wondering if there wasn't some injury reason that Brian Robinson got so much of the ball.
Yeah. So it definitely seems like that. So we'll see if Antonio Gibson's back. I mean, you're not excited about playing him, but I know in a couple of dynasty leagues I've been throwing him out there just because I don't have other running backs. So
yeah.
And then Wentz, designated to return.
Yay.
Good for him. Good for. I'm surprised they even designated him to return. Like,
I feel like it's just to save face. Like, it's just to say, like,
there's got to be some term in the contract of he's got to be eligible to play. Because remember, if he only plays a certain amount of games, we don't have to give us high of a draft.
Yeah, we don't want him in the game.
But I'm sure there was something in there that said if he got hurt week 1, you can't not. Yeah, there's got to be something there.
Yeah,
but Coach already said it's Heineke's team.
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, he's not. Might never start for a team again.
Never.
But he does kind of hoodwink teams into.
Yeah, he's
giving out high draft capital.
He's had a successful career in one way.
Denver might take him.
Honestly, he'd be a very proficient backup for anyone that was considering it.
He definitely is an improvement over Russell Wilson at this point.
He would be an improvement over, I think, a few NFL quarterbacks. Marcus Mariota. I mean, there's a reasonable list.
I saw a stat.
Not Mike White, though.
Ranked 33rd out of all the NFL quarterbacks. 33rd for the season.
32 teams.
Yes.
32 teams. 32 teams. I saw it. His cap hits over the next 4 years
Oh, don't
Like
let
they
him.
literally can't get out of his contract for 4 years. Like he's like 50 million hit, 40 million hit, 30-30. Like
Every season, there's something that surprises me that I'm just attached to. I'm so looking forward to it. And this season, it's certifiably the toilet bowl race to see if Russell Wilson will pass for more touchdowns than he has bathrooms in his new house. I think he has 12 bathrooms
do you know how
in
many
his
touchdowns he's at?
7 or 8.
I
think
don't
it's
know.
8.
So
I
the
wouldn't
race
bet.
is on.
That's a tight race. Also, who needs 12 bathrooms?
Well, when you're
Well.
Guess he
nobody.
is
The answer
Mr.
is nobody.
Unlimited.
Yeah.
When you're missing one, you go to another.
Just stopped up this one. Just close it down. This one's done. We're not worrying about it no more. Don't go to that part of the house.
Ciara, get back here. Anyway, we'll edit that
Anyway,
out.
speaking, Broncos are playing the Ravens this week. Mike Boone's designated to return. Is he going to give that boost to the Broncos offense that they need?
No, I think it's still the Latavius show. They trust him.
Yeah.
Okay. Latavius Murray is the showman. Hamler and Judy versus both non-participants today. That doesn't bode well. Judy with that ankle injury, it's just been sort of weird. They called it minor, but he's been out 2 weeks now
Yeah.
and hasn't
Yeah.
even gotten in a limited practice in that time.
Well, this just goes to show, like, with relation to Michael Carter's low ankle, and I think they were both low ankle, like that just by labeling something low ankle sprain, high ankle sprain, whatever it is. I mean, it's a spectrum of an injury. So Michael Carter might be on the low end of the spectrum. And Judy, there's a matter of coach speak that comes out. I mean, these professionals who aren't doctors are trying to communicate to the media what they know. But, you know, Judy might have actually had a more moderate to severe low ankle sprain.
Sure.
And we wouldn't know any better because all we get is what the coaches are saying.
Right. And I think that's a good opportunity to kind of bring up that, like you said, it's a spectrum. There's really 3 grades to sprains. Grade one being just kind of the run-of-the-mill minor ankle sprain, which typically we see them come back pretty quickly to. Maybe
like a
he was
tweak.
more of that grade 2 where it's actually partially torn a little
Yeah.
bit. And then a grade 3 sprain is technically a tear.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a rupture.
right. And so, I mean, I think in layman's terms, people just hear sprain versus torn ACL, and they don't really realize that a torn ACL is a grade 3 ACL sprain and whatnot, and that goes for any ligament in the body, really.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Dobbins coming back to practice for the Ravens. How do we feel about that, Patrick?
Excited,
Yeah.
but I'm not doing anything this week with it.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, and I have a feeling the Ravens will be cautious
Yeah.
with him as well. So, I mean,
Yeah.
again, excited for the player. Hope it goes well. Hope he continues to recover and gets to 100%. But, you know, this week, next week, I'm not excited about using him if I have to.
No, I agree. And we've talked a lot about his injury, not only this year, but last year and what exactly he was returning from. It was a very extensive knee injury. It wasn't, I mean, any ACL tears an extensive knee injury, but like he tore a lot more than just his ACL. So it was coming back from it was hard to begin with. And then you add in that re-injury risk, and we're just kind of seeing it play out with him.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, the Ravens are a run team. They have running backs at their disposal. Quality is different, but they don't have to rush them back either. So, if anything, I think they're doing a smart thing. Just, hey, when you're ready, we'll work you in.
Yeah, I think this just makes it harder to start any Ravens running back with confidence.
Agreed there.
So, And then kind of a surprise today, Lamar leaving the game or practice with a quad injury. Not a whole lot of information on it, but anytime someone leaves practice for anything, that's a little scary. So I guess we'll see how Lamar kind of does through the week, right?
Yeah, I mean, Lamar has been struggling without any talent really on the offense. He's been without Mark Andrews for much of the season. His numbers have really declined with the absence of Bateman and further with the absence of Mark Andrews. So I think that I would be really hesitant to, be looking for QB1 numbers with, with Lamar on my team against a good Broncos defense. I mean, I watched the Baltimore Carolina game, and that offense looked dysfunctional. The offensive line did not look good. There's a number of injuries there. Lamar Jackson is doing his best, but he's having to put it all together right now. So now you add in a soft tissue injury, something that he's going to have to rest for much of this practice week. I don't think he's going to get a ton of reps in, and this might not be a good game for L-Jax.
Especially not for a very mobile QB. That's going to affect him. Broncos, like you said, are as terrible as a team they are. Their defense is very solid.
Ask Mike Purcell.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm trying not to play Lamar this week, but it is difficult to bench him. Let's move on. Dolphins, 49ers. Mostert may return from his knee injury, just the yearly Mostert knee injury that at least this one didn't knock him out for the year. I like Mostert when he's out there. I don't know how y'all feel about him, but I was playing him in a few leagues, and then this injury kind of derailed that. But Jeff Wilson's also been really, really good.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that's the tricky part is, putting them on the field together. What's that going to look like?
Yeah.
How are they going to play it if they're both available?
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I mean, look.
Yeah, I mean, I see them as a 1-2 punch. Mostert being sort of the 1B. I think it's clear to me that the head coach for the Dolphins, who, he worked with these two running backs in San Francisco. I think that he values Mostert and what he brings to the team. He considers him, his addition vital. And I think he's really doing a good job of picking when to give Raheem Mostert rest, because Mostert is 30 years old. He's had really potentially career-ending knee cartilage repair surgery. So Mostert, we're getting towards the end of the season. He can't be taking the reps that he was taking the first bit of the season. And so Wilson's going to get the bulk of the carries, but I think that Raheem Mostert is sort of their home run guy. And I don't think that the volume is going to be there, but he's got decent flex potential.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like we've said with a couple other teams, I mean, this team's got Super Bowl hope. And so that plays a role in how you're handling all these injuries right now when you're hoping for an extra 3 or 4 games at the end of the year versus, we're just trying to make it through the end of the year. I did not know this. The Dolphins lost their left tackle to a pec injury.
Yeah. I mean, they're not considering it season ending yet. They're trying to figure that out. But he went out, I think, in the first half of last game against the Texans. And later in that game, their right tackle went out with an ankle injury. So they could be without that peripheral support. Honestly, I think that's, all the better for fantasy production from Raheem Mostert. But this is a really good, strong defense to go up against with the 49ers. Nick Bosa might just have himself a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how those Dolphins tackles hold up. And then Debo with, at least it's not his hamstring. this week.
It's the other side.
It's the other side, the front of the leg, a quad injury. Patrick, we're going to take this time. Me and Eric talked about it extensively last week. But how do you feel about Debo and all these little nagging hamstring and I guess quad injuries now?
Oddly enough, thinking about it, kind of puts him along like CMC, honestly, his teammate, where it's you got him, you're going to want to play him. Just like Lamar Jackson, we were just saying, it's kind of hard to bench him because if he's there all game, he's putting up top 10 numbers.
Yeah.
But he could also go down, drive one bad hit, one bad stutter step and cut, and that re-aggravates. Because again, now we're getting late in that season too, where teams will be, let's just pull them out if it's niggle, here and there, because we want to save them down the road. So it's getting tricky. But again, I mean, you're playing them.
Right. Now, how do you feel about him for Dynasty? Knowing like he's dealt with this crap since college, at least, maybe high school. I don't know.
I have been trying to sell Debo. I have good investment in him, and I've been trying to offload him.
That's kind of the conclusion we came to. Is me personally, I'm going to try to sell him hard this offseason. Hopefully, he helps me get a championship this year. Thank you for your service. Now be someone else's problem. I don't trust your soft tissue injuries.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I honestly sent a couple out that were, I thought, heavily favored for the other person. I was giving Debo in a pick for a guy that was younger and performing, but they were like, no, I want the youth. I was like, okay. I mean, that's fine, but
always be rebuilding.
Always rebuilding. Always.
I think there's one thing that's worth mentioning, Pat, though, is like ever since the CMC trade, he has not been putting up traditional Debo numbers. I mean, his season significantly declined.
I feel like CMC took that aspect of Debo's role in the offense because CMC hasn't been the outright running back either until maybe this week now that Mitchell's out. So it really seemed like that offense was split to one running back has this role. CMC was like that versatile running back where Debo was being used, and now Debo was pure receiver. Like all those little plays that Debo excelled at, they took it away. So in that frame of thought, Mitchell's out. CMC may be more heavily relied on in between runs now. Maybe Debo gets some more of those. Maybe he'll have a little bit of a playoff fantasy benefit to the Elijah Mitchell injury.
Yeah, poor Elijah Mitchell.
Oh, poor guy.
Wrecked his MCL on his other side.
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
I liked him, but he just.
Yeah, he had good draft value too, and then now you could probably drop him.
Yeah, but speaking of CMC, he's not participating this week though. Shout out Dr. Chow. Apparently thinks it could be patellar tendonitis. So that's just management as far as in season goes. I mean,
it's hard for a running back. I think. I mean, I think if it lingers this week, which it really might, then it's really gonna limit the volume of work that he gets in this game.
Right. And I mean, from my side of things, if that is what it is, it's not going to go away in the season. It's just as long as he's playing, like it's just not like no amount of treatment, rehab. It can get better and you can manage it, but it's going to stay there.
So would you guys pick up Jordan Mason now?
I was listening to some people talk about this, and it seems like Jordan Mason's the one that you want to pick up, but it actually might be Ty Davis-Price, because Ty Davis-Price doesn't play that special teams role, and that's the reason he's been inactive. And if he gets that role again, they gave it to him earlier in the year, and he got 14 carries in a game when Elijah Mitchell went out, and then he went out with his own. I think he had a high ankle sprain earlier in the year. So Ty Davis Price might be kind of that sneaky pick up and play guy if CMC ends up resting and all that.
Yeah, I mean, again, that like you guys just said, it could flare up and limit him severely. So they need somebody to step up if he has to sit out. So
yep. Anyway, Seahawks versus Rams. Seahawks all healthy, at least at this point in the week. Rams, exact opposite. All hurt. I don't know if you guys really want to dive into that really.
Bet on the Seahawks. Let's move on.
Okay, sounds good. Chargers versus Raiders. Mike Williams, non-participant. We talked about it last week, Eric. That high ankle flared up. He aggravated it. It was tough to begin with to come back from that. Now it's bothering him more. I wouldn't be surprised to see him miss a few more weeks. I mean,
for sure. You're really just hoping that he comes back and gives you one boom week in the playoffs.
Exactly. Now, the real concern, Josh Jacobs with this apparent calf strain, who after his ginormous week last week now might miss this coming week versus the Chargers, who have a very vulnerable run defense. So, Eric, are you concerned about Josh Jacobs playing this week?
I'm not. I think that, I mean, this is an injury that was announced late last week. So everyone was concerned, oh, maybe Josh Jacobs is going to be held out of the game against the Seahawks. And he played, and he went on for a monster week. So that tells me that this is something that they noted, they were concerned about, they thought required attention, but it didn't affect him in the game. And now to be not practicing this early actually makes a lot of sense. Like if you have the time, this is a stress issue. It's a work stress issue. So what he needs is just rest, and it should bounce back. You obviously want to see a limited participation towards the end of the week, but this seems like a very normal course of care for him. If I was in charge of his care, I would say, hey, take the first half of the week off, get in some walkthroughs, go do your thing in the Chargers game.
For sure. I mean, Jacobs plays, you're playing him.
For sure, 100%.
No doubt.
RB1 on the season.
Is he really?
I think so. After that game.
Is it? Well, I guess it depends on the format, but
always depends on the format. Oh my God! Speaking of that, I was listening to the radio the other day, and it's a fantasy radio, and they didn't know that you could do like fantasy points for first downs and stuff like that. They had a caller call in and ask about something like that, and they were kind of just like, "Oh, I wonder if that's possible." And I was like, "What? I won't name names. It was funny though." All right, Chiefs versus Bengals. McKinnon with a hamstring, non-participant today for the Chiefs. That's kind of a bummer. I mean, he's not a superstar for them, but he does have a role in that offense. And does this just help Melvin Gordon see the field sooner? Maybe, Patrick.
Maybe. I mean, at this point with the Chiefs, because I did draft a few of their players, unless you got Mahomes or Kelsey, I feel like everything else is just roll the dice and maybe you'll get lucky. But yeah, I mean, if he's out, that might accelerate that for sure.
Yeah, Tony still dealing with that hamstring injury. I don't think we need to get too much into it. Richmond's not here to defend his boy, so I think we're fine. Juju, non-participant today with an illness. That's all they're calling it. I mean, I'm not too worried. Are you? I mean, are either you guys with just an illness?
I mean, just check it come Sunday morning.
Sure.
I mean, if it's that bad, they'll announce he's out. But
right. Jamar Chase looking like he'll return from that hairline fracture in his hip that has kept him out so long. Um, he's a limited participant today. That bodes well. Eric, are you playing Jamar Chase if he plays?
I am. Yeah, I mean, he has that upside potential. He has that 60-point game potential that you're looking for. And I think the details that he unveiled today in his interview helped me understand a lot more about the mechanism of injury, and it gives me more confidence in the stability of his hip. I think going forward, when he's active, you're playing him.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. He was very transparent about the entire timeline of how it happened, because it was all very weird from an outside perspective with not having the information. It was like, what do you mean? Like, now he's out? He was playing through it. Like, obviously it wasn't bothering him too much. He was going out there and balling. And then it turned out he had a hairline fracture, and the second opinion, that's what caught it. And so it was very interesting.
Yeah, it's way more encouraging from compared to how it was originally presented. I think he'll be good to go when he's good to go.
So, and then Joe Mixon, limited participant today from his concussion. So that's a good sign.
Good sign.
We may see him play on Sunday now. Obviously, it would be better if he was a full participant. I mean, because he has been out a week and a half at this point, but being a limited participant's a good sign. Look for that full participation either tomorrow or Friday. And if you get that, we've seen green lights. Green lights. And maybe another 5 touchdown game. Was that what he had?
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Maybe. Doubt it, but maybe. We only got a few more games here, guys. Colts versus Cowboys, Sunday night game. Not a whole lot to talk about with this game. Gallup missed today with an illness. Okay. But one interesting note, James Washington designated to return. Do either of y'all think he has a role on this team when he returns?
I don't think anything of note.
Okay.
As far as fantasy-wise. I mean, team-wise, reality, probably. But
Sure.
Yeah, I think especially with stronger and stronger rumors coming out that OBJ is going to join the team, it's just going to be CeeDee Lamb, OBJ, Dalton Schultz, and whoever else, but he's going to be a big focus.
Odell Beckham Jr. himself.
if he can get on a plane.
Off the plane. He needs to get off the plane.
Off the plane. Well, you did. Fair point.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, last game, Monday night, Saints versus Bucks. Not a whole lot of information on these teams right now because Thursday's when they really release their practice reports. But Leonard Fournette's the main one right now who is questionable, and he had that hip pointer injury that kept him out. Rashad White's looked good in his steed. So Fournette kind of needs to be out there to keep his job.
Yep.
Super weird.
Yeah, I was a little surprised he sat out with the hip pointer. Like, usually that's kind of just a pain tolerance injury that I've found.
Yeah. Maybe you just can't handle the pain.
I don't know.
Can't handle the pain.
Handle the
That's what the athletic trainer says. All right, we'll edit this out.
I mean, I've possibly said that to an athlete before. I mean,
You
just
can't
saying.
handle this kind of pain, brother.
That's actually when kids come to me and they just have a bruise. That's my nice way of saying, like, you're soft.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, really, this is a pain tolerance thing. I mean, if you don't think you can tolerate it, then okay. I'm not going to argue with you here.
You know what? I might have to use that phrase in the clinic a bit more. I like it.
It's nice. And usually after that, they decide, oh, okay, I'll go. Like,
Yeah, I might have to see if I can trick a few patients with that one.
yeah, it works. It works. Anyway, that's all the games. Quite informative, fellas. Do we have any flag plants this week? Sure we do. Patrick?
I'm going with Knight with the Jets if Carter sits out. I think he shows up again.
Sure. Eric?
Yeah, my flag plant is George Kittle, who has been hot
who's
and
that?
cold this season. George Kittle, I was understanding today that George Kittle, Debo, and CMC have a redundancy in their ADOT, and that's really caused these hot and cold games between Debo and CMC and Kittle. Whereas Ayuk, he's sort of in a league of his own in terms of role. So
Right.
I think with the question marks surrounding Debo, the question marks surrounding CMC's availability, maybe their roles will shift. That leaves a lot of wiggle room for Kittle's role to expand. He's a trusted member of this offense, and they're going up against a defense that is fourth most favorable for tight ends. So I think
like
this
it.
is a Kittle week. I would fire him up with confidence.
I like it. Well, I'm going Jaylen Warren for Pittsburgh. I think he gets that role. I don't think Najee plays. Warren was a full participant today. That bodes well for him coming off that hamstring injury that they felt he was good enough to be a full participant this early in the week. So I like it. Jaylen Warren, they were mentioning earlier in the year, they want to get him more involved anyway. And so I'm excited to see what he can do. And Richmond gets Devin Duvernay
Devin Duvernay!
because he was not here.
I hope he
God.
does well for Duvernay.
This will be the time that
Yep. I might have to fire him up this week.
when I've given
Because-
up all hope on Devin Duvernay, he finally starts against
He's
the
going in the
Broncos.
graphic.
Broncos defense. Anyway, guys, any closing remarks, thoughts, wise
team.
insights?
Go Commanders. Let's go. Playoff bound.
Always be rebuilding.
Always.
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 Anyway, that's all I got. I'm Matt at Fantasy Ferret on Twitter. Eric, where can they find you?
I am the Nighthawk PT. You can find me on Twitter at FF_Nighthawk.
Patrick, where can they find you?
At PMDeli19 on Twitter. Now, mind you, my picture does not match my face, but it's me.
It matches Matt's face.
It matches.
It does match his Matt's face.
Believe it or not.
Unfortunately. Anyway, that's all we got. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.